G'day guys, it's Brendan Von Doom here. Welcome back to my channel, and I have a very special guest here today, the one and only Greta Tate.
G'day.
Greta Tate was the owner, manager, and now brand owner of Metal for Melbourne.
Yes, I wasn't the owner back then, just the manager.
The operator manager of
Yep.
the world famous Metal for Melbourne retail shop. Metal for Melbourne started off in the late 70s and went to the early 90s.
Yeah, late 79
Yeah,
as Central Station Heavy Metal,
yeah.
and yeah, to about 93, 92, 93.
Awesome. So during the metal decade, the 80s, you saw the rise of metal in its heyday.
Oh yes.
You lived it, you breathed it.
Oh yes.
Good stuff. Alrighty.
And locally as well.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, welcome and thanks for taking the time for a chat. I really appreciate that. Now you said you started in the late 70s. What were some of the locations and how did it come about?
Okay, well, I always wanted to get into music.
Yeah.
For a start, and I started Alan's Music in Collins Street, 1970, and left there. Did another record shop somewhere, and then went to Gist Records, which later became Central Station Records.
I recall Central Station, yep.
Yeah, and that was down the ramp at Princess Bridge Station, where Federation Square is now.
Yep, that's square.
And my boss then, Joe Palumbo, he started importing. When I was with them first, they were just a local pop shop. You know, they had everything.
Central Station grew to become
Yeah.
multi-franchise later
Yes,
on
it did.
after you moved into metal.
Yeah, well, he started first. He started importing dance stuff because that was his stuff.
Yep.
And it got so big so quick because our shop was just tiny. It was really tiny. So he moved out to a shop upstairs on top of the ramp. And I was left down there quiet, doing nothing.
Yep.
And they were jumping up there. It was one Friday night, and there were DJs and there was music, and I'm trying to attract somebody to come into the shop.
Yep.
So the next week I asked him if I could change it, turn it into a metal shop.
Yep.
And he goes, well, if you think it'll work, go for it.
Yep.
So I
And
started.
you come up with that idea because of your interest in metal at the time?
Yeah, because I love metal.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I started with metal when metal started.
Yeah.
I'm that old.
Yeah. and you just saw the need and the kids coming in and asking for it?
Well, no, I just thought it would go.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'd just come out of a divorce and everything, and somebody that didn't really allow me to play metal for the last few years of our relationship. And then he took my Black Sabbath records. I wasn't very happy about that.
Oh, no.
But
You got them all back now?
Oh, yeah, I bought them the next day at Alan's again.
Good stuff.
But so I'd missed out on a few years of what was going on in metal.
Yep.
And I just got in the cusp of, the new wave of British heavy metal stuff, and it was so damned exciting.
Yeah. So the early Maiden, the Priest.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I mean, some of those I was into, not Maiden, of course, but Priest and Sabbath and all those in Alan's when I worked at Alan's. But I started on the local first, ringing up the record companies, going through their catalogues to see what metal they've got, which wasn't much.
Yep.
And I remember one of them was Angel, the first Angel album. And I actually got a whole heap of that in that sold just like that.
Yeah.
Tried to get another 20 or something.
Yeah.
And no, that was it. Deleted it, was gone.
Oh,
I
okay.
bought them out.
Yeah.
So I was sort of like getting these albums, local albums, and putting them in front of Johnny Cash and putting them in front of all of the other stuff that's in the shop.
Yeah.
And
so your little section of what became Metal for Melbourne was more than metal at the start?
Oh, yeah, it was everything.
Yeah.
It was everything. And then that grew, and then Joe said, start importing. Here's some catalogues. I thought, oh, yes.
Yes.
And the first box I got, I think, was about that big.
So you were dealing direct with the labels or distributors?
No, with distributors.
Yeah.
Yeah, distributors.
So that still hasn't changed for the shops nowadays, except nowadays you can go straight to the labels themselves
Yes,
on
you
their
can.
own websites.
Yeah.
But back
Yeah.
then, all through, they made money and then you had to make something
Yeah.
on the top retail. Yep.
So I started off in England. By the end of it, of course, we had Holland, Germany, England, virtually everywhere.
Yep.
America, of course.
Yep. So your Music for Nations, your Under One
everything.
Flags, Noise,
Yep,
all those,
all of them.
all the big
Yep.
guns.
Iraq, everything.
Iraq,
Yep. In America, it got to the stage, we got really big fast. And
Yep.
we needed a bigger shop. So Joe said, okay, we'll send you up to the city square. We'll get a shop up there. We were only there for about 3 months, thank God, because I hated it there.
Yeah.
And he needed more room. Shop 4 upstairs was pretty small too. And which anyone can see the photos, by the way, on Facebook.
Yep.
They're all there.
I'll put a link below to Greta's Facebook page, and also another link to where she sells some of her merch.
So then we swapped shops.
Yep.
And he went to City Square and I went upstairs, shop 4. And that grew so fast from there. And by, I think, 1983, Joe just walked into the shop and said, take out everything that's not metal. Give it to us. Thank you.
Yeah. So
from then on.
So 84 was it?
Yeah.
84.
83,
Metal
84.
only.
Yep,
Yeah.
metal only. 100% metal.
Yeah.
And merchandise, we had great suppliers from overseas. America, we'd get new releases in within, 3 to 4 days from America.
Wow.
It
So it wasn't coming in via ship.
No.
Nothing like these COVID times. The address I remember most fondly was that one there.
Oh yes.
What year
Shop
was
12.
that? Yeah.
Shop 12. We moved there, I think, around 85.
Okay.
And it was still It was Central Station Heavy Metal then. I changed it, like it was Central Station, then Central Station Rock, then Central Station Heavy Metal.
Okay. So went through a few name changes over that period of time.
Yeah, went through a few name changes. But then Joe came in, I think one time around about 87, and several changed the name. I think people were getting Central Stations and mixed up dance and metal. And
Yeah.
I think it's a bit iffy about that. So he said, do it. Use the name that you had the bands, the gigs that you did the gigs with. And I said, okay.
Yep.
So we changed it to Metal for Melbourne then.
Yeah.
And I think we moved down to the Vaults about 89.
Yeah. That's when I was about 15, 16.
Oh, lucky you.
And that's my most fond memories of that, the old vaults with the curved brick ceilings.
Which were a pain in the butt.
And I remember my most fond memories was my older sister. We jumped on the train from Geelong, travelled up, and I was like, I saved up my pocket money for a few weeks, if not months.
I've never heard that before.
We used to have a little metal shop in a dodgy little alleyway in Geelong that had just about nothing in it, and the guy was always, I trade in your old stuff and try and rip us off and all that sort of stuff. So I hope that guy's not watching right now. But this one I remember most fondly. T-shirts everywhere, bullet belts, posters, banners, vinyl, cassettes, CDs were out by then.
CDs,
yeah, that's my most fond memories. And my sister took me there before the cricket games, before the concert gigs at Rod Laver and the other venues that were there back then. So, yeah, awesome times.
Yep, they were awesome times.
Thanks for the memory ride. I really appreciate that. But yeah, after that era, what happened, and where did you go to, or that was the last place, was it?
The Vaults.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then my Glenn Glenn, who used to work for me part-time, he ended up buying Metal for Melbourne.
Yep.
We turned it into Metal Labyrinth. And we opened up a shop. After a year, we opened up a shop in Ballarat because we used to do record fairs together as well.
Yep.
And Ballarat had a really good metal following
Yep.
scene. So we opened up here, but then it was probably about a year later, or not even that actually, about 8 months later, and Glenn said, sorry, we've got to shut the shop up there.
Yep.
But I'd already bought a house, so I'm here.
Okay. Yep.
I went, okay, bye-bye.
All right. So you pretty much finished with the retail industry 90...
Yeah, 90, me,
Yep.
95.
Okay.
96.
All right. So you spent a good 13 to 15 years retail in the metal industry.
Yeah, from 70 to 95.
Yeah.
So 70, 80, 90.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were there in the heyday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. Alrighty. To the next question. All right, we went through that. So excuse me while I read some notes. All right, we'll go here. Here we go. Who are some of the many famous people, musicians, bands who visited and did in-stores in your shop during that time?
Well, we had Sepultura was my favourite down in the vaults.
That's a big name.
That was awesome. That was a really good day.
Yep. That was a separate visit or during a tour?
No, it was their tour. They played Festival Hall.
Yep.
And Blackie Lawless, that was huge.
Blackie, Wasp, yep.
But yes. And that was a promotional tour of coming out soon, but it took him like 20 odd years.
Yep.
After that. Fight.
Halford.
We had,
Yep.
with Halford. Goodness. Anthrax.
Anthrax, yep.
Anthrax, that was at the Vaults as well.
Another big one, yeah.
They were pretty cool. Sepultura, I think, were the coolest. Although they couldn't speak much English back then.
But down-to-earth guys.
They were great.
Yeah.
They knew what a beer was.
Well, yeah. The Cavalera brothers.
Oh,
yeah.
and we had Striper too, but we didn't quite make that.
No?
No. I wasn't expecting many, and it was a Saturday afternoon. And I thought, yeah, fine, trundled along, because I used to live in Richmond, so that day we walked in. And there were all these people, and I thought, oops, I won't say it. Bloody hell, what's going on? And we got in the shop, and Striper managed to get through the crowd and get in.
Wow.
But we couldn't have an in-store. We were stuck in there for a couple of hours, I think. And that store, that was shop 12.
Just with the crowd of kids. Yeah.
Everywhere. All upstairs, everywhere, packed in. And that shop 12, was glass all the way around. And the glass was going like that.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
Security.
Yeah, and we couldn't get out. We couldn't let anyone in. Somebody went through the glass window next door.
Oh, wow. So it was Striper, not Sepultura, that almost caused a riot.
Yes.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, I know. And it took, we rang police. I rang police.
There would have been a lot of females there too for Striper.
And a lot of people against Striper,
Wow.
which I only found out like years later.
Okay.
No, on Facebook actually.
The big metal guys who thought Striper was a poser band back then. Yeah.
And so I had to ring the police, and it took them about an hour to get there because there was a huge football match on, wasn't there?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So they were there, So then they drove their divvy van and backed it right into the door, opened the door and Striper, off
Get 'em
they
out.
went.
Get 'em out.
And that was it.
Yeah.
And a few years later, there was an interview, I think with Michael Sweet. Michael Sweet?
Yeah.
Michael Sweet, yeah, I think it was him, one of the members. And he was asked what was the scariest gig they've ever done. And he goes, well, we've done gigs with soldiers walking up and down the aisles. He said, but the scariest we've had has been an in-store in Melbourne. Yes, we did it again.
The infamous in-store for Striper. That's fantastic.
I thought, my God.
Oh, great memories. Yeah, we're talking about female fans. What was some of your, I guess, being a female in a male-dominated industry, retail and heavy metal? What were some of the hardships you had to overcome, or any setbacks or struggles?
Credibility was probably, in one word,
Yeah.
the main thing. The very first letter I got, and that was downstairs in the very small shop while we were still becoming metal, was from John Cotter in Utopia.
Okay.
And his very first line was, "Hello, Greta, what is a woman doing in metal?"
He still owns Utopia, doesn't he?
I don't know. I know somebody else managed it. I thought somebody had bought it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm not sure if you're watching. Sorry, mate. I don't know if I answered you or not, but you know. But also, when I was first starting, changing it, of course, this shop was small, right? Very, very small. I mean, yes, you can't see it, so I won't bother.
Yeah.
And I used to have the guys standing outside saying, "Ask her this, she won't know this. Ask her that one, she won't know it."
Oh, okay,
you know?
to try and prove.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And they'd come in, of course, I'd hear them.
Yeah.
And I'd just be waiting. And then they'd ask. And some I did, and some I didn't. And
Yeah.
I'd tell them if I didn't. I said, "Look, I haven't been in it for a while, so, you know, let me catch up. I'll get it for you if you want it."
Yeah.
And I did. So it grew from there. One thing I didn't do was lie, thank God.
They would have seen through that.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I had enough of that at Allen's because
Yeah.
people used to come to me for a new release. I was in charge of the cassette counter and all that then. And they used to say, "Oh, have you got such and such?" And I say, "No, sorry, it's not released yet." "Oh, Maya said it was, and they're sold out." And I said, "Well, it's a load of bull because it's not out yet."
Yeah.
And I had that all the time. Maya always said that, and that really pissed me off. So I'd never, no. If I didn't know it, I said I didn't know it. But I'd bloody well do my research and I'd find it.
Yeah. Well, no, well, I mean, that's,
Because I wanted to know too.
yeah,
you know?
yeah, and you guys were known for the go-to place to get the hard stuff.
Yeah, well,
especially from overseas.
if I wasn't at a gig on, after work, I'd be scanning through, catalogues after catalogues.
Yeah.
When I get the merchandise catalogues, that was like Christmas. Yay!
Awesome. And you're like, "Oh yeah, I remember that kid come in and asked for that. I better get a couple of copies of that in." Yeah, fantastic. Alrighty. Now you need to tell us about this. For a period of time, you had your own. Well, you managed a record label, and this was one of the bands that come out on it. Tell us a little bit about how Metal for Melbourne record label come about.
Yeah, well, my boss suggested that one day, and I must admit, he was the one that did all that. I just suggested the bands.
Yep.
I will say here, though, had it been my label, there would have been a lot more bands on it. Like the likes of Sacred, heaps more.
Yep.
But he never really, he started, but he never really had time. He was bringing out his own dance stuff and everything else. So
Yep.
really, and Taramis' second album virtually took ages, and I was on his back all the time. When's it coming out? When's it coming out?
Yep.
So yeah, so to give him credit though,
Yep.
he wanted to do it.
Yeah, but you had
But he
suggestion.
didn't have time.
You had suggestion in the bands.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
with the bands, yeah.
Yeah, and some of the other bands that were on that label, apart from
Yeah,
Taramis.
Blackjack, Taipan were the very first ones. That was back in 1981.
81.
Dyslexic.
Yeah.
And I think it was 81. Yeah, about 81.
Yeah,
That
because this
was
was
the first.
released in 86, I
Yeah,
think.
somewhere around there.
86, and then they went to Metal
Metal
Blade.
And then Germany as well.
Yeah, and then this got re-released in 87, I think.
Yeah. And the Taipan one was a 4-track 7-inch, which got picked up by England,
Yep,
and released as a 12-inch.
yep. And Blackjack,
Blackjack,
they were a
5
Melbourne
pieces
band
of
as
8.
well.
Yep.
Yep, and they were probably known for one of the first pirate-y type
Yeah,
bands.
piratical.
Pirate type bands, which
Yeah.
other pirate type bands may have copied afterwards.
Well, they may have.
Running Wild,
But I must admit, I mean,
etc.
those guys lived it.
Yeah.
You know, as well as metal, but they sort of like, you know, it wasn't a thing they put on for the music. They lived
Yes.
pirates.
Yeah.
You know.
Wow.
Yeah, I can remember we went down. There's video of it, I think. Went down to the one beach, can't remember which one at the moment. Landed on the beach at a boat, all of us. John and Rick from Blackjack had swords, dressed up as pirates.
Yeah. Man of war style.
Running up and down the beach, and there's all these people, you know. Meanwhile, the night before, their roadie dug a huge hole and put this big chest that they'd built in it.
Oh,
And he
brilliant.
sort of like looked where, you know, where it's supposed to be, to a building, you know. And everyone was thinking, oh my God, these bloody idiots, you know, until we started digging. Then we started digging, pulled out this chest, and the kids loved it, you know.
Yeah.
The kids go, oh, look at this, you know.
So
look
this
at
was like a publicity thing or a
no, just
filming?
just a mucking around thing.
Oh, great stuff.
Just happened.
Which
a good
ended
afternoon.
up a publicity thing.
Yeah, well, it did.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah, so you know, opened it up, and there's all this food and stuff.
Yeah. So if you had full control of Metal for Melbourne record label, it would have been a lot bigger, and you would have had a lot more bands
Oh
on
yeah,
it.
yeah,
That's
definitely.
unfortunate. I mean, that's short-lived. That label was around for how many years?
Well, it was around, I suppose, as long as Metal for Melbourne. Oh well, you know, from 80, yeah, as long as Metal for Melbourne was, but
Yeah.
pretty redundant.
Yeah.
After that, yeah.
So being a great supporter of local and Australia-wide bands, you a great supporter of the guys in the bands, struggling musicians. You even gave jobs to help them survive in the shop.
Oh well, I don't know, but Joel was good. He worked for us, worked with us. That's about the only one actually.
Yeah.
The other Joel wasn't in a band, but he was Joel Whitford. He started as 2 weeks work experience,
Okay.
and he was so good. I ended up putting him on part-time, and he was with me for years. Hi, Joel.
Awesome.
And hi, Shane. But no, Joel was Big Joel. Shane
Yeah.
was the only one that was...
Shane from Taramis.
Yeah, Shane from
Yeah.
Taramis, yeah.
The guy with the high
Who I
voice.
still can't call him Shane. I've spent years calling him Joel.
Yeah. Alrighty. All right. Let's change a bit of tact here. Your favourite band of all time?
Beatles and Black Sabbath. I went from the Beatles to Black Sabbath
Yeah.
like that.
Like that.
Like that.
Wow. That's a big jump.
I grew up with the Beatles,
Yeah.
right? Yes, and again, yes, I'm that old. And
I'm not allowed to ask, by the way.
and I grew up, you can find it on Facebook, I don't care. I grew up with them as they grew too and changed, I did as well.
Yeah.
And I grew up with their music changing and all that. And as it started getting just that little bit heavier.
Yep.
And then I got into sort of like Cream and things like that. And you could, you know, if I look back on the music I was into, you could see my path
Yeah.
going straight to Black Sabbath.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I heard the first track of the first album of Black Sabbath when it came out, and that was it.
Yeah. So when it came out, yep, you were there.
Yep, that was it.
And you were hooked on metal from then on.
Oh, yeah.
So
definitely.
the age-old debate of who was the very first metal band was...
Well, for me, it was Black Sabbath.
That's it. You heard it
For anyone
firsthand.
else, it's
First
different.
hand. From
for
someone
me-
who lived and breathed the industry. Who do you have in your CD player right now?
I've got Zach Sabbath.
Zach
Playing.
Sabbath. Awesome.
Yeah.
You got it here, didn't
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right.
you? Yeah.
Vertigo.
Awesome.
The whole first album of Black Sabbath,
Awesome.
done by Zach Wild.
Zach Wild. Yeah. He tours that every
It's
now and then
awesome
too. Does all Sabbath
Have
stuff.
you heard that?
So, sorry?
Have you heard that?
No, but I've heard some of the stuff. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Awesome. All right. If you don't mind, tell us a little bit about your own personal collection and some of your most treasured albums and memorabilia.
Oh, my dragons.
Dragons. Yeah, there's a lot of dragons here. Oh, There's one
Oh, that's
right
my
there.
little funny Gherkin.
Cool.
No, well, I've got a few Queensryche autographed albums when I used to be into early Queensryche,
Yep.
which I suppose I still am. But,
You had them signed personally?
no, they didn't. Well, they were signed personally, but not by them with me, if you
Okay.
know what I mean.
Yep.
I got them from overseas.
Okay.
Believe it or not, I don't have a lot of signed stuff. And believe it or not, I didn't meet a lot of people because whenever they came out here, all my customers did, but I was working.
Yeah. Yeah.
Met Metallica, they came into the shop actually,
Yeah.
the first time they were out. And actually, James asked me for Metallica bootlegs, and I sort of hesitated. And he goes, "It's all right, we collect them." And I
They
had a
collect
whole
them
heap
themselves.
underneath.
They'd rather buy them instead of for themselves instead of you selling them to the
They
kids.
did then. I think their attitude changed with the downloading and everything, but bootlegs back then.
He maybe
On
wanted them to
vinyl
be
were
scarce,
different.
so the price went up.
I don't know, but they bought some.
That's unreal.
But no, just everything. My Black Sabbath collection is
Yeah.
the
That's
second row is my Black Sabbath
a whole
collection.
shelf.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a whole shelf, and
Fantastic.
I've got another few coming too.
Awesome. All right. Any new bands or albums we should be checking out?
No,
No. One.
Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
Amorphous. If you haven't heard Amorphous.
Amorphous is that your favourite thrashy band at the moment?
Yeah, Deathy band. Yeah, it is.
What just dropped
Immolation
today?
is good.
What In Melissa's Wake just
Oh,
dropped
that,
today.
that I'm waiting for. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I ordered that quite
Pre-ordered,
a while ago.
pre-ordered,
Yes,
pre-order.
yes.
Check out the new In Melissa's Wake. What's it called?
Blah, 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 blah.
I forgot to.
Darkness. Check it out.
Check it out.
It's on Facebook.
It's awesome. Alrighty. How do you keep yourself busy nowadays? What stuff do you sell? Do you? What do
Well,
you?
a couple of years ago, I was speaking to my old boss, and he goes, "Did we ever register Metal for Melbourne?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. That would have been your thing."
Yeah.
But I said, even if you did, it'd be finished now anyway. So I actually registered. So
Okay.
I do.
So you're now
own
the
Metal for
rightful
Melbourne.
owner
Yes, I am.
of the brand.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Yep.
So I've just been bringing out some stuff that, yes, here we go, that we used to have.
Yeah.
I've been doing the market up here for 25 years, the local market, not with heavy metal stuff, just body piercings and fashion jewellery and stuff.
Yep.
Changing all that. I started doing craft just to get some money, and that was fine. And so since COVID, thanks COVID,
Yeah.
the markets have finished, or at least they've been shut for months. So I'm in the process of putting all the market stuff up
On Facebook?
onto
Yeah.
my new page, Metal for Melbourne merch group,
Yep. I'll leave a link to that
which
below.
which you can join.
Yeah. You can join and check out all the cool. Jewelry,
Jewelry,
Patches.
body piercing, patches, heavy metal patches,
stubby holders, t-shirts.
t-shirts. Yep.
All Metal for Melbourne stuff.
And I'm hoping to expand.
Here's
on
some
that.
of the patches. And a battle vest I've been building.
And it's awesome. Look at that.
So that is cool. So just about all these I purchased off you.
Yes, you did.
So you can get any of those. Check it out. So yeah, like I mentioned, I'll leave a link below to that and you can check it out. And are you shipping in Australia only at the moment?
Yeah, in Australia, and I'm hoping to sort of expand a bit and maybe.
Maybe a website later on?
No, I don't think so.
No, keep it to
I was
Facebook.
going to. I was
Yeah.
actually going to, but I don't think so at the moment. But maybe start getting some CDs and things in as well.
Oh, fantastic.
I don't know yet.
Yeah.
Try. It's in there.
Well, you've got to have the time too, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's been keeping me busy, and at the moment I haven't got everything up either.
Yeah.
You know, like I haven't got the body piercings and all that up there yet. But I'll get there.
All right.
There's
Awesome.
only one of me.
That's it. You might get big enough again to maybe open another shop one day.
I don't think I'll be fit enough for that.
No. That's gone. That's finished.
I'm pretty sure it is, yeah.
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 All right. Cool. Anyway, I want to thank you for your time. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And do check out Greta's Metal for Melbourne merch site on Facebook if you want to purchase any of the stuff. All right, guys.
And thanks for having me.
Oh, you're most welcome. Thanks for having a chat
Been
with
fun.
me. Thanks for giving me some of your time. I really appreciate it.
Heaps.
All right, guys. Cheers.
Thanks.
Stay
Bye.
metal. See you later.